Hello and welcome to the GrapeSEED Official Podcast. On this episode of MeySen Connection, we welcome Candice Bayron, a teacher at MeySen. So welcome to the podcast, Candice.
Hi, thanks.
Let's get started with just some basic information. So how long have you been at MeySen and what is your current role?
I'm finishing up my fourth year at MeySen. I work on the Takamori campus. I teach the K-5 Premier School kindergarten class, and I'm the Penguins teacher.
Okay. And I think we just talked about before we started recording that you are also working pretty closely with Patricia, friend of the show.
Yep, she is my other half, my much taller half over at Mariama.
That's great. Do you have a favorite GrapeSEED material?
I love singing. It's something I've always loved doing, even as a kid, but I really enjoy singing the songs with the children. My favorite is probably the mail carrier song or the washing machine. The washing machine's kind of got a jazzy feel to it, which is a little bit fun. And the mail carrier song is so catchy. I actually find myself whistling it and singing it when I'm not at work.
Do you whistle as you sing?
I don't. That would be rather difficult, but I do whistle very well in tune.
Fair enough. I've actually, that is my favorite material in GrapeSEED as well, Unit 8's mail carrier song. And I haven't met another person who's had that as their answer. So I'm very, very excited to have you on, even more so than I was before.
Oh, there we go.
What about a favorite unit? What's your favorite unit?
I know we've just talked about Unit 8, but Unit 8 is my favorite unit.
Nice.
One of the reasons that it is my favorite is we introduce a lot of vocabulary that gives the students an opportunity to really connect their own personal lives to what we're doing, because we talk about what they want to be when they grow up. And the other thing that's really neat is they start talking about their mothers and fathers. And so every year on my word wall, I end up adding more and more professions, because this year I had a hairstylist as one of the parents, and I have a little boy that wants to be a baseball player. So I had to add those to my word wall this year.
Okay. Can you go into your word wall a little bit there?
Yeah. I have my word wall color coded by unit, since each of the units has its own color. And as we go through the units, I introduce words that come up in the writers as well as vocabulary. And then in addition to that, sometimes there's just special interests where the kids will talk about something, and I'll go ahead and make a new word just for them, since it's something that they've talked about. For instance, like soccer player or baseball player, things like that.
Okay, perfect. Because I think especially in your case with being a premier teacher, you have all that extra time with kids, right? So you're not limited to your 40 minutes of GrapeSEED lesson and that's it for the day. So you have that extra time. You have a little bit more opportunity to kind of branch out and really tie in those connections with students and introduce language that might not be in the program, but is relevant to their interests and will then be motivation for them to keep learning.
I do. And I'm really fortunate in that regard, because especially when I have really bright students, I have a lot of students every year that can go way faster and beyond what we teach in GrapeSEED. And so it's a great way for me to help challenge them and inspire them to think of new things to talk about.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation for any teacher, even if they don't have all that extra time. Even if you are the 40 minutes a day only, if you have a couple minutes before or after, and you can find some way to decorate your classroom or add in some extra words to really build student interest and increase that student buy-in, then I would definitely recommend it for anybody.
Yeah.
Beyond the word wall that you have up in your classroom, can you talk about some other decorations that you have going on right now?
Well, I love my class mascot, which is a penguin. So of course I have penguins everywhere. They represent my colors on the wall, and I have some peeking around corners and things like that.
Cute.
But in addition to that, I have spaces for my students to show off work that they've completed. I have a writing wall where I hang up the most recent writings. Right now, it has a picture of some kind of melted snowman and why the snowman melted. We read a story that's actually not in GrapeSEED. It was something I took the opportunity to do during story time in the afternoon. We read Sneezy the Snowman, and then we did our own rendition of that. So I have little melted snowmen, and the one right in front of me says, "My snowman melted because he ate hot curry."
That's probably not the most common cause of snowmen melting, but it happes, I guess.
No, I have another one that jumped into a volcano. So there's that.
Oh, okay. Well, the dangerous life of snowmen.
Apparently. And we, of course, have calendars and counting walls, and I color code my counting wall so that the kids can learn to skip count. We do daily exercises with a calendar talking about what's coming up the next day and things like that.
How about your favorite board of all time?
Oh, my favorite board of all time. I was listening to Patricia's episode, and she and I actually have the same answer, which is funny. In Unit 8, there is a story that the town has everything pink, and I made an entire pink town one time. And on the same unit, but a different year, I had my students make a Welcome to Penguin Town board, and I took the jobs that my students had said they were interested in, and we made little paper doll people with their actual faces on it, and it was adorable and hilarious all at the same time. Little tiny astronauts and dancers and mothers and dentists and all kinds of things.
Goodbye, my friends, goodbye. I'm sad to say goodbye. It was a good day, but now I will say goodbye, my friends, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.